Hello. So welcome to my way of life this Saturday afternoon. Today I'm actually cooking right now. I mean, I cook every day, but I'll just switch this over to, you can see I've just made a dough here. It's just a plate. What I'm cooking are tawanan. These are tandoori roti, which are kind of like a cross between a roti, a chapati, and a naan. And I've learned how I'm a seasoned cook. I've been cooking for many years. I mean, most of my adult life I've been cooking. I know that's pretty much a rarity these days, and I'm going to talk about that. That's going to be the subject of this talk, and it will last for more than 5 minutes. And it really is aimed at both men and women, but women, I'd like you to take really good note. The younger women, I mean, who've completely lost all touch with what their real femininity means, not the prostitution stuff that they do online. I'll explain that. But it's really important to learn how to cook. And I cook every day, and I generally am not thinking about myself when I cook. I'm thinking about my family. Now, my 2 boys have grown and flown the nest, and my parents live around the corner. In fact, that's deliberate. I'm deliberately here so that I'm close to my aging parents, so that I can look after them, because I have a moral duty to do that. I don't know how many of you know that, but you have a duty to look after your parents. And if you still possess a love inside your heart, if you understand that definition of love, if you still possess that feeling, it's not something you would think about as a duty. You would just do it because it would be automatic. They're your parents. You know, your mum has given birth to you, and if you're lucky enough for them to be alive, then there's nothing that's going to offer you more joy, but also more reward than from God, if you're a believer, of course. And this channel is really for believers, or those that want to learn how to understand the idea of being a believer in God and having faith. There's nothing more rewarding than looking after your parents. You're only here for a short time, and just doing something for others, not just your parents, although that I would class that as one of the most important things after your immediate family. Arguably, they are your family. See, this is another thing we've kind of forgotten. Well, my immediate family is my wife and children. Well, actually, no. Your immediate family, this is where we, once upon a time, not too long ago at all, you married into a family, a community. Your first community is your family, your mother, father. I mean, what are the roles of grandparents when you have children? Their role is simply to love and nurture. And yes, with that comes all sorts of other issues, but it's nothing in comparison in general to having no one and to dump. You're doing so much damage. And I know this from my experience. Even though my children were lucky enough to have been looked after a lot by my parents, but those that are looked after in general by nannies or by mums who are working, who just can't give them their time, there's a reason why those boys and girls have become what they've become today. The degradation and degenerate beings in society. So message for women: one of the things you can do to really connect to who you are is to learn how to cook. And by doing that, I mean just every single day, and I've talked about this many times, but it's very, very important that the whole idea of being feminine is knowing what your role is, which is to love and to nurture. And I don't mean that kind of love that you hear on the news. I'm talking about the love that naturally stems from a female who, if she's nurtured well, would know that there's a reason she gives birth to children. There's a reason she's female, because she's automatically got that nurturing side to her. Men are there to protect and provide. And also, women, you are not equal to men. This whole feminist thing, it's absolute nonsense. And I'm not just speaking from all the books and things that I've read, but this is from experience. You know, I was born and brought up in the UK, born in the late 60s, brought up in the UK, and it was really very much a feminist movement, but there was still traditions that we hadn't degenerated, and degradation of society had just started about that time. But it was very much get an education and become a powerhouse and you can be equal to men. You're not equal to men. Let me just tell you this truth. You will never be equal to a man by virtue of the fact that you're a woman, and your role is to get married at a certain age while you have your periods. There's a reason you have your periods between 14 and a certain age and you're more fertile. There's a whole point. This is what nature has done. This is nature. Have children. There's nothing that gives more joy than having children, and look after your husband. And a male role is to protect and provide. We're not talking about men right now. I'm talking about men in this, with females in this video. So that's what being feminine is about. Being feminine is not about shaking your booty. It's not about fluttering your eyelashes, which, you know, I don't know what you've done to, but come out here and that look absolutely filthy and disgusting. It's not about putting loads of Botox in your face. And remember what I mean by that. If that becomes your identity, it's a problem. It's not about shaking your booty, and it's certainly not about online prostitution. And when I say online prostitution, you've got to know what the meaning of a prostitute is. A prostitute is somebody that is selling their sexuality for money. So you get all these influencers online and who have been tricked by the state and society and feminism into thinking that they're doing something valuable. It's of no value at all other than prostituting your lips and your hair, and anyone of value looking at that knows it, and ruining the next generation by influencing them in a negative way. It's satanic. You are literally taken over by Satan, and it's filth. And if you look up what prostitute means, that's what you are. And I'm sure you don't want to be that way. So to connect back to your real femininity is to learn how to be a woman and a wife. And it's hard to undo once you've been living in a certain way, or you're in an environment which is conducive to that. I'm going to talk a lot more about all of this another time, but I'm just sharing with you what I'm doing for now. And remember, your life isn't about you. It's nothing about you. It's what you do for others that counts. It's what you do to serve God that counts. It's obeying the laws of nature and God's laws that counts. So always keep that in mind. And I can tell you, I have never been more content and happier since I have recognized what I'm actually here for, and since I have started to work and help my community and my parents. Of course, they come first, and they should. And it's just given me complete meaning. And, you know, I will never die thinking I didn't do what I can for my family and for my parents. All those that do, and you know, oh God, I just can't imagine being at that stage of my life and thinking, what have I done? And then all those regrets, and they always will come. I promise you, they'll come, unless you've completely lost connection with your heart. That's happening, unfortunately, to people. But yeah, get in the kitchen and start cooking. Learn how to cook a nice loaf of bread, chapatis, if you're from my culture, good 2 or 3 curries, and just some basic meals. Learn how to put them together, and then you start from there and you'll move on. There's plenty of other things that you can learn to do as well. But that's this Saturday morning's chat. Have a nice day.